Hey everybody, welcome back to Doc G's Reloading. So I just did the unboxing on this and posted that video. So we're going to go over the disassembly and the features of this gun. This gun's, like I said, been around for 33 years. It's a gun that I think John Browning himself would be proud of. It is completely fully ambidextrous right out of the box. People have their complaints about it. Oh, I can't put a laser on it, or oh, I can't put as many accessories on it. I mean, this is a cartridge that goes out to 200 meters. That's it. You need all this extra optics and lasers and sights and stuff. I mean, come on. This is a CQB rifle. This is something you would, in the 10.5-inch model, is something that gives you a superior amount of firepower in a small package. And it's a tool. It is a tool. This is not a gigantic socket wrench. This is a small pair of precision pliers. This is something, it has its role and again, over 40 countries still use this as their weapon for not only their special forces, but other, parts of their military. So a couple of the features that I saw that people didn't cover that I'm going to cover today are you got your charging handle here. So charging handle is fully ambidextrous here. You can kind of see it here. Here you go. So this is your charging handle here. A lot of people have these videos, so I'm going to get some nubbins that come on this, pull it out a little bit bigger. But anyway, this is your charging handle. Now the cool thing is, let's say you're at a range where you've got a RO who's like, man, I got to have that chamber open. I got to have a chamber flag in there. Well, you'll notice that right now the chamber's open. And I could put a chamber flag in there and it would be sticking straight up. I could easily do that. Matter of fact, here, I will do it. Look at this. So there we go. You can go, boom, there you go. So you could be at the range and be like, see, there you go, I told you. And now, how did I lock that back? Well, a lot of people didn't show this. There is a plate underneath here, underneath the bottom, that is it's a dust cover. So just like you have on your ARs on the side that covers the bolt, you have one underneath here. So what you do is you stick your finger underneath here, okay? You pull back on the charging handle, you snap that into place, let the charging handle go forward. It's a non-reciprocating charging handle, so it has a spring that keeps it forward. And now your action's open. And you can stick a chamber flag in there. So that's kind of neat. And then when you go to fire, the minute you fire, that is going to snap out of the way, and then your stuff is going to eject out the bottom here. The other thing that they don't cover in a lot of these videos is that this is a free-floating barrel. See how there's a little bit of play there? There's a spring in the front here. There's a spring in the front right here. That is a free-floating barrel. It's part of the recoil mechanism because this is a direct blowback reciprocating system. So it's just like the 50 BMG, 82A1 and 107A1 that are made by Barrett. The barrel is on springs. The barrel here has a little spring to it. That's why you can't put these on super tight. I already put these Picatinny rails on, so these did not come stock. But with the kit, you get these adjustment tools here that are all steel. And this is to adjust your peep sight up front. So here you can kind of see here, there's a hole right here. If I can get it in there for you. And there's a hole right here at the top. Okay, and that hole comes out and you got this front post. And that's your backup sight. You also have a sight here. So I'm going to tip it upside down so y'all can see it. But see this notch here, there's a little notch right there. And there's one on each side, that's why it's ambidextrous. But that notch and this front elevated piece right here, this is your blade. So that's your blade, that's your notch. You have a notch and blade front sight. Now, in order for me to get this sight to work, my face has to be crammed so far down on this stock that it would be almost impossible for me to really utilize that sight. I can use the peep sight here through the back without too much problem. But realistically, the peep sights if you have no other option. But what you can do is you loosen up this bolt here, you loosen up this bolt here, This holds your lock ring in place, and then you can adjust this for windage either way, this way or this way. And then this here is for your front post adjuster for elevation. So you just shove that down in there and you adjust your front post for elevation. So you can kind of dial in that peep sight if you wanted to. Again, that would be your last ditch effort if you had to have one. But the safety is really nice. That's your safety. Clicks off and on right there. So when you're gripping the gun, it would be here. You'd be right there. Click, back and forth. Okay, real easy. It's on, fire and safe. They're safe. And then disassembly is so easy that you just push this button here up front, and it's actually idiot proof. You pull this out here, and then you drop out your reciprocating bolt part, and you can't put this in backwards. So let's say you put it in upside down, it won't fit in. So it only goes in one way. This is your reciprocating bolt system. Everything on this is metal except for this back piece here. This back piece is plastic. So, because there's really no strain on this black piece. The strain is on this weight and this reciprocating bolt. That's what is really taking up the recoil. And then you can see the bolt face there has your extractor at the bottom and your ejector at the top. So your extractor pulls out the case, your ejector at the top pushes it down so that it pops out the bottom here on there. Now there's only 2 more pieces to this gun. Now that this is out, see this little nub in here holds on to this goes in here, and that holds your buttstock on so your buttstock won't come off. So you have to take this out first to get your buttstock off, and then you got your trigger pack in there. And then you lift up this little lever on the trigger pack. Of course, I said easier said than done. Yeah, there's a little lever there. You lift up the trigger pack. You push down with your thumb. You kind of pinch it. It's like pinching a boobie. And then out comes your trigger pack. Now this is all plastic. Everything here is plastic. But again, it doesn't break. It's ingeniously designed. Now this thing up here, here's where your cases hit when they eject. So I'm going to take I got a little piece of Velcro, and I'm going to put a lot of guys put a piece of Velcro over this, and I'm just going to cut around it and then put this little piece of Velcro here so that as they eject, they're just not nicking into the plastic here. But yeah, this housing here, so yeah, when your cases are ejecting, and that's how you can check for wear on a gun, how much it's been used. You'll check that to see. But yeah, there's your hammer. And right here is where your trigger bar goes, because there's two trigger bars, one on each side that push this backward, and that's what causes it to come up and fire. And you can kind of see those, maybe. Well, you can see it right here, right there. So there's the trigger bar. So that thing goes back, and there's just 2 pieces at the back. I don't know if you can see it in there. It's going to be hard to see. But yeah, there's the 2 little metal pieces there, the 2 little metal ends. So this is just like a big U of wire, and the 2 back pieces push on this here. So when this is pushed back, it fires, and then it resets itself. So to put it back, and that's it. That's all you need to do. You can disassemble it further if you want to. I mean, you can pull out this trigger. You can pull out this magazine holder. You can do all that if you want to. I wouldn't. You don't need to. But here's your full upper. Okay, there's the springs underneath, and you got the spring here. That's spring loaded, and then there's a spring in the front of the barrel here that you can't see. That's in there, and that's what causes your barrel to float. Your little floating barrel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend the $200, get a tax stamp, and I'm going to get a 10.5-inch barrel, and then decide whether or not I really want to do it. I can do it. What you just have to do is drill out this pin, put this whole thing in the vise, take a 15mm box end wrench here. That's a thin box right now, and then righty-loosey on this. So these are reverse threads. So right would snap it loose. The shroud comes off. You pull this barrel out and slide a dowel through. Then you take your new barrel, slide it through, and fish through this spring here as you're going through, and then your new 10.5-inch barrel will come out here, and then you screw the adapter on the 10.5-inch barrel, and you got it. So, and then here's your, non-reciprocating. Oops, sorry, I want to push those off. But that's your non-reciprocating charging handle. This is the spring here that keeps that. You can see the spring. That's the spring that keeps the reciprocating handle forward all the time. But I mean, that's it. Those are the pieces of this thing, and it's just so. I mean, it's just so brilliantly designed. And I thought, you know what, this is something that is so cool. I can put a 10.5-inch barrel on it if I want to. So you can see there. So when you squeeze this down, you can see when I squeeze it, see that little, yeah. So you squeeze it down, push it in, that's in, you're done. Slide your buttstock back on, just slides on there like that, snaps into place. And then what holds it in place is your reciprocating piece, quite heavy duty, and this is what really does all the work. And this plastic piece at the back is what's going to hold your buttstock on. So you slide that back in there like that, and then you take your gun like this. Now I bought a case for this that is really cool, and you have to disassemble it into these two pieces, but you put it in a case that's literally no bigger than this. I mean, it's like the size of a I'm going to do a video on it, but it's the size of a laptop case. So you put it in like this. Now, if I even put the 10.5-inch barrel on and a suppressor, the suppressor would come out to about here. So I could suppress this with a 10.5-inch barrel, and it would still be shorter than this. Again, I got to apply for the tax stamp, for the short barrel, and through ATF. And then this is the case. I'll show the case. And then the case has slots for 5 magazines, and each of these are 50-round magazines. I mean, and they're just super ingenious. And the magazines have these rollers in it, these Delrin rollers, these plastic rollers. There's 2 of them. And really, I thought there is a company that makes better rollers for them, but all the rollers do is as you're loading, those rollers get pushed all the way back. So those rollers are back here. Those rollers don't do anything as the ammo gets pushed forward. They don't serve any purpose. The only purpose they serve is for loading in new rounds. As you're loading in those rounds, like if you looked at a fully loaded magazine with 50 rounds in it, those 2 rollers that are in there would be back here. You'd have the 2 rollers back here. You can see right through them. There's 2 rollers right here. So those rollers just roll forward as you're going. And these factory rollers, I mean, why would you spend $6 a set on rollers when literally they don't do anything, and they're not going to cause a malfunction? This gun was designed to work in full auto. I think the rollers are just fine, and the rollers don't play don't do anything to help. So anyway, I saw those and I'm like, why would you buy those? But anyway, maybe some people want them. They think it'll make it more reliable. I don't know. But anyway, so then here you go. You just take this, set this on here, push it back in there like that until you get to the button. Push the button down. Snaps in place, makes a nice ting sound. And now you can't get this trigger group out unless it's racked back. Okay, so if the hammer's in the up position, you can't get that trigger pack out. So you got to make sure that you rack it and put it on safe before it, well, I mean, always put it on safe, but before you disassemble it, or else you won't get the trigger pack out. And then the magazine just goes in up here, up on top. And I mean, how ingenious and cool, I mean, is that magazine? That you got 50 rounds sitting sideways, and then as they come down, they make one turn and then one more turn, and they're ready to go in. And again, this gun was designed for full auto at a rate of almost 800 or 900 per minute. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's super fast. So I did put these Picatinny rails on. I might put a cheekerizer on here. They're out of stock right now. I might do that. I'm not putting any lasers or anything on it. I might put a light on it. I don't know. I'll have to see. I'm going to get the little nubbins that fit over these nubbins, and they stick out a little bit more, so you get a little better grip on them just because my meat hooks are so big. But that's the features of the PS90, my new cool gun that I just added to my collection. All right, thanks again for watching Doc G's Reloading.